The house I built with my bare hands 32 years ago is right behind me, but I can't go inside because my daughter changed the locks 3 days ago and told me if I didn't leave, she'd call the police. She said those exact words. "Old man, move out. This is my house now. I'm 71 years old. I have nowhere to go. And the person who did this to me is the little girl I used to carry on my shoulders. The little girl I taught to ride a bike. The little girl who promised she'd always take care of me. But before I tell you how she stole everything I owned, before I tell you about the judge's face when he heard what she'd done, I need you to understand something. This isn't just my story. This is happening to elderly people all across this country. And if you're watching this, if you have aging parents or grandparents, you need to hear this, because it could save them from what happened to me. If this story helps even one person, hit that like button and subscribe. You might save someone's life. Now let me tell you how my own daughter became a thief. My name is Robert Jacobs. I'm 71 years old. I worked as a machinist for 43 years at the same factory in Richmond, British Columbia. I wasn't rich, but I was careful. Saved every extra dollar. Never bought anything I couldn't pay cash for. My wife Linda and I bought a small lot in 1992 for $68,000. It was all we could afford. The house that was on it was falling apart, so I tore it down myself. Spent every weekend for 2 years building a new one. I did the framing, the electrical, the plumbing. Everything except the roof, because Linda was terrified I'd fall. We hired that out. By 1994, we had a 3-bedroom house. Nothing fancy. But it was ours, completely paid off. No mortgage. Linda died 6 years ago. Cancer. It took 11 months. I held her hand through every chemotherapy session. Slept in a chair next to her hospital bed for the last 3 weeks. When she died, I thought about selling the house. Too many memories. Too many rooms that felt empty. But our daughter Sarah convinced me not to. "Dad, this is your home," she'd said, sitting at my kitchen table, holding my hand the way Linda used to. "Mom would want you to stay here. And I'm right here in Vancouver if you need anything. I'll check on you every week. I promise." She kept that promise for about 2 years. She'd come by on Sundays, bring groceries, stay for lunch. We'd talk about her work as a real estate agent, about her husband Marcus, and their plans to start a family. She seemed like she cared. I should have been paying closer attention. I should have noticed when the questions started. Small things at first, casual. "Dad, have you thought about what happens to the house when you're gone?" She'd ask while washing dishes. "Do you have a will? Is everything organized?" I told her I had a simple will. Everything goes to her. She's my only child. What else would I do with it? "But Dad, if something happens to you, if you end up in a nursing home or something, how will we pay for it?" Have you thought about that? I hadn't really. I was 70 years old, healthy for my age. Still mowed my own lawn. Still drove to the grocery store. Still had coffee with my buddies from the factory every Thursday morning. The idea of a nursing home felt distant. Impossible. "I guess we'd figure it out," I'd said. She'd nodded, smiled, changed the subject. But the questions kept coming. Every visit, she'd bring it up somehow. The house, my finances, what my plans were. Then about 8 months ago, she brought documents. "Dad, I've been doing some research," Sarah said, spreading papers across my kitchen table. "I found out that if you need long-term care, the government can take your house to pay for it. They can force the sale of everything you own." I stared at the papers. Legal language I didn't understand. "But there's a way to protect it," she continued. "If you transfer the house to me now, put it in my name, then it's safe. You can still live here. Nothing changes for you. But legally, they can't touch it." I remember feeling uneasy. Something about it didn't sit right. "I don't know, Sarah." This is my home, Linda's and mine. Dad, I'm not asking you to leave. You'll stay here for the rest of your life. I'm just protecting your asset, protecting Mom's memory. Don't you want to know that all your hard work won't just get taken by the government? She had documents from a lawyer, a property transfer form, everything already filled out. All I had to do was sign. Marcus and I talked to a lawyer, she said. This is completely normal. Lots of families do it for estate planning. You're protecting your legacy, Dad. That's all. I should have talked to my own lawyer. I should have called one of my friends and asked what they thought. But I trusted her. She was my daughter. She was a real estate professional. She knew about these things. And she said nothing would change. I'd still live in my house. So I signed. The transfer happened in November. By December, Sarah's visits became less frequent. She'd text instead of calling, say she was busy with work. The holidays came and went. She didn't come for Christmas. Said she and Marcus were going to Whistler. I spent Christmas alone for the first time since Linda died. January was quiet. I didn't hear from her much. A few texts here and there. When I called, she'd keep the conversation short. I'm with a client, Dad. Can I call you back? She never did. Then in February, on a Tuesday morning, she showed up unannounced. She had Marcus with her, and a man I didn't recognize. They walked into my house without knocking. I was having breakfast. Toast and coffee. At the same table where I'd signed those papers 3 months earlier. Dad, we need to talk, Sarah said. Her voice was different. Cold, professional, like I was one of her clients. This is Brian. He's a real estate appraiser. We need him to look at the house. I set down my coffee. Why? Because we're selling it, she said simply. Like she was telling me the weather. I actually laughed. Because it was so absurd. Selling it? Sarah, this is my house. I live here. No, Dad, it's my house. Remember, you transferred it to me. And Marcus and I have decided to sell. The market's really hot right now. We can get at least $900,000 for this place. I couldn't process what she was saying. The words weren't making sense, but you said nothing would change. You said I could stay here for the rest of my life. She looked at Marcus, then back at me. That was before we knew what the property was worth. Do you have any idea how much money is just sitting here? We have plans, Dad. We want to buy a bigger house. Start a family. We need this capital. This is my home, I said again. My voice was shaking now. I built this house. Your mother and I built this house. And now it's mine, Sarah said. Her eyes were hard. I didn't recognize them. The deed is in my name. I'm giving you 60 days to find somewhere else to live. That's generous. Legally, I could give you 30. Marcus was walking through my living room with Brian the appraiser, looking at my walls, my floors, the fireplace I'd laid brick by brick in 1995. They were evaluating my life. Sarah, please, I said. Don't do this. This is all I have. You have your pension, she said. You can rent an apartment. Plenty of old people live in apartments. I'm your father. And this is business, she said. Nothing personal. You'll understand eventually. They left an hour later. The appraiser took photos of everything. My bedroom, my bathroom, the workshop and the garage where I still had all my tools. After they left, I sat at my kitchen table until it got dark. I didn't turn on the lights. I just sat there trying to understand how this had happened. The next day, I went to see a lawyer. His name was David Park. He was recommended by one of my friends from the factory. I showed him the property transfer documents, told him everything Sarah had said. He read through the papers slowly. His face didn't change, but I could see something in his eyes. Anger, maybe. Or pity. Mr. Chung, I'm going to be honest with you, he said. This is elder financial abuse. Your daughter lied to you about the purpose of this transfer. She misrepresented the terms. But legally, the house is in her name. You signed it over voluntarily. That makes this complicated. So I can't get it back? I asked. I didn't say that, David replied. There are grounds to challenge this. Undue influence, misrepresentation, breach of fiduciary duty. But we need to act fast. Once she sells the house, getting your money back becomes much harder. How long will it take? Months, maybe a year. These cases move slowly, and they're expensive. I'm talking $30,000 to $50,000 in legal fees. I didn't have $30,000. My pension was $1,800 a month. I had about $12,000 in savings. I can work on a partial contingency, David said, seeing my face. Reduced rate now, larger percentage if we win. But Mr. Chun, you need to understand something. We might lose. She has the deed. She has legal ownership. What we're arguing is that she obtained it through deception. That's hard to prove. What should I do? I asked. First, document everything. Every conversation you have with her. Every text message. Every email. Second, do not leave that house voluntarily. She cannot legally evict you without going through proper channels. And even though she owns the property, you have tenant rights. Make her take you to court. And third, let me file an injunction to prevent the sale of the house until this is resolved. I followed his advice. I stayed in my house. I didn't answer when Sarah called. I documented everything. David filed the injunction. 2 weeks later, Sarah showed up with Marcus and 2 police officers. I was in my living room, watching television. She pounded on the door. When I opened it, she pushed past me. Dad, you need to leave. Now, I have buyers coming to see the house tomorrow, and you're making this impossible. This is my home, I said. My voice was steadier than I felt. You need to go through legal eviction proceedings. My lawyer explained it to me. Her face went red. You're a lawyer? You're suing me? I'm your daughter. And you're stealing from me, I said. It was the first time I'd said it out loud. You lied to me. You said nothing would change. Things change, old man, she said. And there it was. Old man. Not Dad. Get out of my house. You have 1 week. If you're not gone, I'll have you forcibly removed. No, I said. You'll have to evict me legally. And my lawyer has an injunction. You can't sell this house. She turned to the police officers. Can't you do something? He's trespassing. One of the officers, a younger guy, looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, if he's been living here and this is a civil property dispute, we can't remove him. You'll need to go through the courts. Sarah's face twisted into something ugly. You're going to regret this, she said to me. I'm going to make your life hell. She kept her promise. The harassment started the next day. She'd show up at random times, morning, afternoon, late at night, pounding on the door, yelling through the mail slot. Open up, old man. This is my property. You're trespassing. She'd bring Marcus. Sometimes friends. They'd stand in my driveway and yell. My neighbors started to stare. Mrs. Patterson from next door came over one afternoon. Robert, is everything okay? She asked. I keep seeing your daughter here. She seems upset. I explained what was happening. Mrs. Patterson's face went pale. That's horrible. Robert, if you need anything, please let us know. Frank and I are right here. But I didn't want to burden anyone. This was my problem. My mistake for trusting my daughter. The court date was set for May 15th. 3 months away. David warned me it would be hard. She's going to paint you as a confused old man who doesn't understand what he signed. Her lawyer will argue you transferred the property willingly. We need to prove she deceived you about your right to remain in the house. How do we do that? We need witnesses. Did anyone hear her promise you could stay? Are there any text messages or emails where she said that? I thought about it. All our conversations had been in person. She'd been careful. But then I remembered something. She sent me a text in December, I said. After the transfer, I was worried about property taxes. She said not to worry, that nothing was changing, that it was still my home. David's eyes lit up. Do you still have that text? I did. I never deleted it. We submitted it as evidence. We also submitted the original property transfer documents where Sarah had written in the margins that I would retain lifetime residence rights. Her lawyer argued that was just a note, not a binding contract. The hearing was on a Thursday morning. I wore my only suit, the same one I'd worn to Linda's funeral. David was next to me. Sarah and Marcus sat across the courtroom with their lawyer, a sharp-looking woman in an expensive suit. Sarah wouldn't look at me. The judge was a woman in her 60s. Her name was Justice Margaret Thornton. She had gray hair and sharp eyes that took in everything. Sarah's lawyer went first. She painted me exactly as David had predicted. Your Honor, this is a straightforward case. Mr. Chun voluntarily transferred his property to his daughter for estate planning purposes. It was done legally with proper documentation. He now regrets that decision and is trying to reverse it. But remorse is not grounds to undo a legal property transfer. My client has been generous. She gave him 60 days to relocate. He has refused. He is now living in her property without permission. Then it was David's turn. Your Honor, this is not a case of seller's remorse. This is textbook elder financial abuse. Ms. Chun deliberately deceived her elderly father about the nature of this property transfer. She told him repeatedly that nothing would change, that he would continue living in the home for the rest of his life. She used her position as his only child and his trust in her to manipulate him into signing over the most valuable asset he owned. Then, within 3 months, she reneged on every promise she made. She is now attempting to evict her 71-year-old father from the home he built with his own hands so she can profit from its sale. The judge listened to everything. Then she asked to see the evidence. The property transfer documents. The text messages. She spent a long time reading. Then she looked at Sarah. Ms. Chun, did you tell your father he could continue living in this house for the rest of his life? Sarah's lawyer whispered something to her. Then Sarah spoke. I told him the transfer was to protect the house, for estate planning. But circumstances changed. We need the capital. And legally, the house is mine. I have the right to sell my own property. That's not what I asked, Justice Thornton said. Her voice was ice. Did you tell him he could continue living there? I don't remember exactly what I said, Sarah replied. It was months ago. Let me refresh your memory, the judge said. She picked up a paper. This is a text message you sent to your father on December 18th, 3 weeks after the property transfer. You wrote, and I quote, "Don't worry about the property taxes, Dad. Nothing is changing. It's still your home. You'll live there just like always." Did you write that? Sarah's face went pale. Yes, but, and this, the judge continued, holding up another document, is the property transfer form. In the margins, in what appears to be your handwriting, it says, "Father retains lifetime residence rights." Did you write that? Yes, but that was just what? Justice Thornton's voice cut through the courtroom. Just a lie? Just something you wrote to convince your father to sign? Sarah's lawyer stood up. Your Honor, with respect, this is a property dispute between family members. Personal feelings aside. Personal feelings? The judge's voice rose slightly. Counselor, this is not about personal feelings. This is about a daughter who deliberately deceived her elderly father to steal his home. The courtroom went silent. I could feel my heart pounding. The judge continued. I've been on the bench for 22 years. I've seen many cases of elder abuse, financial exploitation, isolation, manipulation. But this case is particularly egregious because of the calculated nature of the deception. Miss Chun, you are a real estate professional. You understand property law. You knew exactly what you were doing when you convinced your father to transfer his house to you. You made specific promises about his right to remain in the home. You put those promises in writing. And then, once you had legal ownership, you immediately reneged on every single promise. You told your 71-year-old father, quote, "Old man, move out." Do you understand how callous that is? Do you understand that you were attempting to render your own father homeless so you could profit from selling his home? Sarah was crying now, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of someone who'd been caught. Your Honor, we have financial needs. So does everyone, Justice Thornton interrupted. That doesn't give you the right to defraud your father. Mr. Chun spent 43 years working as a machinist. He saved every dollar. He built that house with his own hands. That house represents his entire life's work. And you attempted to take it from him through lies and manipulation. The judge looked at the papers in front of her. I am making the following rulings. First, the property transfer is hereby voided on the grounds of undue influence, misrepresentation, and breach of fiduciary duty. The house will be transferred back to Mr. Chun's name immediately. Second, I am granting a permanent injunction against Miss Chun. She is prohibited from contacting her father regarding property matters or attempting to coerce him into any financial transactions. Third, I am ordering Miss Chun to pay Mr. Chun's legal fees in full. And fourth, I am referring this matter to the District Attorney's Office for potential criminal charges of elder fraud. The judge wasn't finished. Miss Chun, I want you to understand something. Your father trusted you. He trusted you the way all parents trust their children. He believed you when you said you were protecting him. Instead, you were setting up the cruelest betrayal imaginable. You saw your elderly father not as a person to love and care for, but as an asset to exploit. That is unconscionable. I hope you live with that knowledge for the rest of your life. Then Justice Thornton looked at me. Her expression softened. Mr. Chun, I am sorry this happened to you. No parent should have to experience betrayal from their child. Your house will be returned to you. You will never have to worry about losing your home again. I am also ordering that a notation be placed on your property title, warning against any future transfers without independent legal counsel verification. This will protect you going forward. The gavel came down. I sat there, unable to move. David put his hand on my shoulder. We won, Robert. You won. I looked across the courtroom. Sarah was bent over, sobbing. Marcus had his arm around her. Her lawyer was packing up her briefcase with quick, angry movements. I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty, because I'd gotten my house back, but I'd lost my daughter. Or maybe I'd never really had her at all. Maybe the daughter I thought I knew had never existed. Maybe she'd always been someone who saw me as a resource instead of a father. That was 6 weeks ago. The house is back in my name. The title has the special notation the judge ordered. Sarah's lawyer tried to appeal, but it was denied. The district attorney is reviewing the case, but I told them I don't want to press criminal charges. She's still my daughter, even after everything. I haven't heard from her since the trial. No calls, no texts, nothing. Part of me wants to reach out, to try to repair something. But David advised against it. She's dangerous, Robert. She saw you as a mark. If you let her back in, she'd try again. They always try again. I think he's right. I changed my phone number. I updated my will. Everything now goes to charity, a fund for seniors who've been victims of financial abuse. I'm sitting in my living room right now. The same room where Linda and I used to watch movies on Friday nights. The same room where Sarah took her first steps. The same room where I signed away everything I owned because I trusted my own daughter. Mrs. Patterson comes by sometimes. Brings me casseroles. She and Frank have sort of adopted me. Their kids live in Toronto, so we're all a little lonely. We have coffee together on Sunday mornings now. I told them everything. They were horrified. Our daughter would never do that, Mrs. Patterson said. I can't even imagine. I couldn't either, I told her. Until she did. I think about Linda a lot. I wonder what she would say about all this. She always saw the best in Sarah. She'd make excuses when Sarah would cancel visits or forget birthdays. She's busy, Robert. She's building her career. She still loves us. Maybe Linda was right. Maybe Sarah did love us in whatever way she was capable of loving. But love without integrity is meaningless. Love without honesty is manipulation. And I learned that lesson too late. I'm 71 years old. I'm back in the house I built. The house is safe now, protected by court order. But I'm alone. Completely alone. The family I thought I had was an illusion. My wife is gone. My daughter is a stranger. A dangerous stranger. I spend a lot of time in my workshop now, building things, fixing things. It helps me not think. Last week, I built a birdhouse. Painted it blue, the same color as the front door Linda always loved. I hung it in the backyard. This morning, I saw a robin checking it out. Small victories. I want to tell you something important. If you're watching this and you have elderly parents, please pay attention. This is happening everywhere. Adult children convincing their aging parents to sign over property, to add them to bank accounts, to change wills. Sometimes it's legitimate estate planning, but sometimes it's theft. It's abuse. And the victims are too ashamed to talk about it. They don't want to admit their own children are stealing from them. I was lucky. I found a good liar. I could afford to fight. But most seniors can't. They end up homeless, penniless, betrayed by the people they trusted most. If your parents are talking about transferring property or assets, make sure they talk to their own independent lawyer first. Not a lawyer recommended by the adult child who's asking for the transfer. Their own lawyer. Someone who represents only their interests. And if you're an aging person watching this, please be careful. I know you love your children. I know you trust them. I did too. But trust needs to be earned, even from family. Especially from family. Don't sign anything without getting independent legal advice. Don't let anyone rush you. And if someone is pressuring you, if they're making you feel guilty or confused, that's a red flag. That's manipulation. Walk away. Call a lawyer. Protect yourself. I've been getting messages since word got out about my case. Other seniors telling me their stories. A man in Calgary whose son emptied his bank account. A woman in Halifax whose daughter took over her pension. A couple in Winnipeg whose son-in-law convinced them to refinance their paid-off house and then disappeared with the money. It's an epidemic. And it's hidden because the victims are ashamed. Well, I'm not ashamed anymore. I was a victim, but I fought back. And I won. My house is mine again. Sarah can't touch it. The court made sure of that. Was it worth it? I don't know. I have my house, but I lost my daughter. Though maybe I never really had her to begin with. Maybe the little girl I carried on my shoulders died a long time ago, and I just didn't notice. Maybe the woman who stood in my living room and called me old man is who she always was underneath. I'll never know. What I do know is this. I'm still here. I'm still in the house Linda and I built. I still have my coffee on the back deck every morning. I still talk to my neighbors. I still build things in my workshop. Sarah took a lot from me. My trust, my peace of mind, my relationship with my only child. But she didn't take my home. The judge made sure of that. And sometimes, late at night when the house is quiet and I'm the only one here, I think about what Justice Thornton said, that Sarah saw me as an asset instead of a person. And I realize that's the saddest thing of all. Not that she stole from me, but that when she looked at her father, she didn't see her father. She saw dollar signs. I hope your children never look at you that way. I hope you never have to sit in a courtroom and listen to a judge describe how your own daughter tried to make you homeless. I hope you never have to change your phone number to hide from your own child. But if it does happen, fight back. Don't be ashamed. Get a lawyer. Document everything. And know that the law does protect you, even when your family won't. I'm Robert Chun. I'm 71 years old. I'm a retired machinist. I built my house with my own hands. My daughter tried to steal it from me, and the judge gave it back. That's my story. I hope it helps someone. I hope it saves someone from what I went through. If this video made you think, if it made you want to protect your elderly loved ones, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Share this story. Because the more people who know about elder financial abuse, the harder it becomes for people like my daughter to get away with it. Thank you for listening. And remember, trust is earned. Even from family. Especially from family. Take care of yourselves. And take care of each other.